a reunion of tribes of sorts. This is an opportunity for us to get together. First, I want to thank you for joining us. And it's so predictable. The people that are on time, I can see them, and I'm excited that you logged on with us today. We are, Yvonne and I have decided to come together to just create this space for women to share the concerns and the issues that they have around leading through this crisis, whether you're leading in an organization or whether you're leading in your home. But everybody is transitioning and leading and trying to figure out how to move in what this new environment is for us now. Most of you who, whether you know me or not, I have been in this healing space and coaching space for a long time now. And I met Yvonne about maybe 2 years ago now in Florida. We were at a coaching conference learning about speaking and selling and doing all of this wonderful thing. Well, for me, I think Yvonne and I represent just perfect opposites. She's everything that I'm not. She has an amazing resume. She's warm, she's caring, she's organized, she likes systems, and she adores structure. And what I am is a butterfly. I go around pollinating ideas and people and things. And then I tend to just kind of build them and I'll move on. And so it is a perfect fusion. And as we come to you today, I hope that you appreciate the offering that we are giving to you. It is really a space for you. And so I'm going to turn it over to Yvonne so that she can share with you who she is, and then we will jump right into what we have to share around leading through crisis. And we all agree, I think everyone is either experiencing it one way or another. So hopefully towards the end, we'll be able to share from each other, hear from each other, and get some tools so that we can learn from each other. Yvonne.
Yes. Okay. My name is Yvonne McCoy, and I help women leaders to navigate their unique talents so that they can increase their professional and personal legacy impact. And I just want to say that that I'm looking at this as a co-creative space. It's not that, we have all the answers, but we want to get answers from you. We want to see what you're concerned about and see how we can help. So as much as we can do it, I would like to see all of your fabulous faces and have you on unmute if possible so that we can talk. If you have a background that is going to interfere with that, then, by all means, mute yourself. I don't want to have to mute the call if I don't have to. So if you would just take a minute and go, I'm just going to do real fast. If you go to the bottom of your screen, you will see a little bubble that says chat. So if you would go to the chat box and just put in your name and where you're from so we can get a little bit, I think Cicilina knows most of the people, but just in case, there's some of you that we don't know and we want to know. So if you would put that into the chat box, and if you would also add what you'd like to come away with. So we weren't really sure what people thought is the biggest challenge, and I've never done this before, but I did a poll, so I'm going to see if I can get that to come up and see if you can take it.
Monique from Maryland, Colleen from New Zealand.
Oh, fantastic. Hi.
Coming, Colleen.
Okay, can you see the poll?
I can see it.
All right, so if everybody would take a minute and take the poll so we can kind of see what people are interested in. And if there's something that's not there, you can put it in the chat box and we'll be looking back and forth.
And we have Rhonda from Detroit, Monique from Maryland, Jennifer from Maryland. Who else do we have?
Okay, I'm still waiting.
Oh, what? Wait, okay.
Dee Dee from Los Angeles. And Maddie.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey, Trish.
I use this Zoom for her classes, so.
I
Trish, but
Okay, so I've only got 4 people that have taken the poll.
Bye, everybody.
So if the rest of you would do that, otherwise you're going to get outvoted.
Well, I'm driving.
Serene Lee from Maryland. Hey, hey.
I don't know. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Vern.
Oh,
Can you all see the poll?
If you click on the chat, the poll will pop up. Look at the bottom of your screen. Next to the green button, share screen, is a chat button. If you click on the chat button, the poll should pop up.
It doesn't pop up automatically. I thought it popped up automatically.
Not for me.
Obviously, we're having a little, we're finding our way through. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave the poll up for a minute.
Okay.
So far, the first 4 people said that they wanted time management. That was their thing. I just want to address one thing that I think is really important, and it has to do with during this time we have a sense of loss of control, and probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned this year is control is not really about boxing something in or squeezing it really tight and confining it, right? Control is really about having flexible options. When you have flexible options, you have more control because you can decide how you're going to go when life throws you a curve. And I think that is like a wonderful feeling. I mean, it is a way that you can make decisions about what you're going to be doing. And probably one of the big things that you need to make a decision about during this time is when there are so many feelings and stuff, is how am I going to control my energy? How am I going to control my mindset about what's going on around you? So I don't know if anybody has found that to be true. So I don't have you on mute. Would it be helpful if I had you raise your hands? All right, I'm going to get rid of the poll. So you can go to
if you share the screen, would you be able to use share screen to put the poll up so we can see?
But the thing is, you can't take it when I share the screen.
Oh, I see.
I think when I hit polling, I thought that it was supposed to just pop up for you.
It did for some people.
All right,
It did pop up.
I just did it again. I don't know.
It popped up for me.
Okay, so I don't know if more of you can see it. All right, so that's something we'll have to work on. All right, so if you go to, I believe let's try this. If you go to participants, it says lower hands, but I got one hand. All right, so let me do this. Monique.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Yes.
Marsha.
So I raised my hand, and I think you were asking about the control part.
Right.
And so, yeah, you talked about, I think, sort of like controlling ourselves or controlling what we can control. I have a family of 5 that has all come back together. So when you add that element to the control piece, you do sort of feel like, well, I know for me, speaking for myself, I feel like, things sort of get out of control because now we're learning to cohabitate together again. I have 2 that were, in college, and they've come back home. And so we're all 5 of us are back together again. So it's, learning to, for me, I think I was getting, because I just felt like totally control because everybody was doing their own thing. They're moving and living and, moving in space as if they're still in their own space when they're, so we're having to learn to share space and such. So I think I have losing control at first, and now I'm not getting so bent out of shape that things aren't the way I want them to be, or I think they should be. So I'm learning to be flexible and just sort of go with the flow. and you know, the buzzword now is fluid. So I'm being more fluid in order to control and learn to control what I can't control, which is mainly me. And then be flexible with the other entities and situations we can't control. So that helps for me to sort of alleviate some of the stress and feeling overwhelmed.
Cicely, do you have any comments on that?
I think that you nailed it with fluid. I think that the idea that we can control this environment has been fleeting, because we have very little control right now over anything except our own bodies and what we do with them. We don't hardly have control, especially if we live with other adults, over what they do. Especially if they decide to do things like not abide by the guidelines. And so I think that one of the things that as I talk to sister friends throughout the week, because I'm redefining what community even is that she said to me, I need you to help me breathe. And so one of the things that I really encourage us to think about as we think about control, that even as this disease has attacked our breath, that one of the ways that we can really connect is to breathe. She said, sis, I'm not breathing. And so to take these really deep, robust breaths into our body and then just release them and feel what that feels like. Because otherwise, breathing is like part of the autonomic nervous system. We don't think about breathing. We don't have to. But to the extent that we can do that, it really grounds you and centers you and allows you to move, Monique, as you talked about fluidity. It gives you that permission to do that more.
I do believe, though, that fluidity is one thing, but giving up what you need is something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really important during this time when we're all under one roof, is to really have conversations with the people that you know are in the same space with us, that this is not acceptable. You know, I can let these things go, but this is not acceptable.
All right.
Carve out that space for yourself. Like when I'm in my room and the door is closed, don't bother me. You know, those kinds of things. And I think in terms of breathing, I think you can control your energy, which has been like amazing to me this year. One of the things I've started doing is seated Tai Chi, which has a lot of breathing to it. And I do it every day, and there's a 10-minute thing and there's a 15-minute thing, but I find that it really focuses me, especially when I'm like, my brain is racing. And then, also with my Fitbit though, I have to do my 250 steps every hour. So I got one thing that'll pump me up and something else that'll calm me down. So does anybody else have any comments about that? Come on.
I think it's
I'd like to add to that, Yvonne. Thank you so much for that. I think that the thing that has kept me grounded in these very uncertain times, and even when the whole world wasn't in an uncertain time, just when my life goes through uncertain times, there are some non-negotiables. So I don't like to traditionally exercise. People like to go to the gym. I don't like that. I hate that. But I love riding my bike. I like hula hooping. I like dancing. And so I do those things because they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they open up my sinuses, they open up the lymphatic system, and I can breathe easier and I can deal with people better in situations better. So definitely.
I love that. I had a full-out dance party last night by myself. It traumatized my kids. I played all I'm telling you, I was running through the house. I was looking for them. And I was full-out dancing like it was a party. And they were just like, the 90s are over.
and humor is an amazing thing to get you through the day. I mean, it's really funny to me. There's a doctor in our neighborhood that has been sending things out to a group of people that have me laughing hysterically. And I've been forwarding. So one of the ones that I liked was somebody said, "Where's your husband?" And she said, "Out in the garden." And they said, "I don't see him." She said, "You didn't dig deep enough." Um, so, you know, if you don't have a way to get your daily dose of humor and cut back on your news, it's going to add to your feeling of overwhelm.
Absolutely.
So what are you guys doing for humor?
I'm watching anything Tiffany Haddish.
Okay.
We're watching Martin.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
My mom, my name is Bernadette, and I'm here with my mom, Mary. So we were in here laughing hysterically.
Hey, Bernadette.
Hi. And then my nephew comes down and like, what are you guys laughing at? We was like, Martin. And it was so funny.
Okay. So do we want to talk about control more, or do we want to talk about time?
Well, just to touch on what you said about just the news, I think, you know, just not focusing on the news every minute, every hour of the day is key, because that will just drive you insane. So when the pandemic, you know, first came about, of course we were all interested and we wanted to know more, but I think who we're hearing it from and what's being said, I mean, you have to just trust your faith and really trust that there's a higher being that's, you know, in control, and no matter what is said on the news, or what, you know, our president may be saying, that, you know, he doesn't have that control that we need within us. So I think for me, I get through my day just knowing that, you know, my faith is strong. You know, instead of turning on the news, I'll read like a Bible verse, you know, just to start my day out. Not to say I won't watch the news, because of course you want to tune in at some point, but I think just having that control in my day helps me just not let him be the one controlling how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done sort of the same thing where in the morning, I'll watch the news, you know, first thing in the morning, and then I shut it off because it's overwhelming. There's a constant flow of information. And then in the evening, you know, my favorite is David Muir. I'll watch him, and then I'm done, because you can let it overtake you and, you know, cause a lot of anxiety. And then, you know, all my kids are home, so I don't want them to be super anxious too. Like, we talk about it, but I don't want them to just be inundated with and flooded with, you know, messages and images and, you know, just sad stories about people whose lives have been devastated.
Yes.
For me, this is Natalie. One of the things that I get a little bit overwhelmed.
Natalie, you're kind of breaking up.
Okay,
I don't know whether
sorry.
it's 'cause you're moving.
Well, now I'm sitting down.
You're clear now.
Now you're clear.
I'm clear now? Yeah. One of the things that I've been doing is just really trying to really just practice gratitude. I mean, it's something I did before the virus, and I'm finding that I'm using it more now. I mean, for me, I'm in the process of trying to sell my mother's house, and we had some good things before the virus, some good prices, but, you know, as the virus has been taken over, a lot of the investors, you know, they've been pulling away. So anyway, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be grateful no matter what.
Colleen, can I call on you since you're in New Zealand?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think in New Zealand it's a little bit different because we went very early, like we shut everything down very early, and we're in lockdown. And so lockdown means you can go for a walk, but you can only do that, or you're locked area. So if you go to the next suburb, that's kind of okay, but you can't go too far. Many of our shops are closed, and so we don't have even takeout. We can't get takeout. It's only essential services, which are the supermarket, the pharmacy, medical services. Some couriers are still running, and like you can go to the vet if you have a pet. You can take your pet to the vet. But we are really locked down, and the streets are very, very quiet here.
And so are you feeling the that need to have more control, or are you missing the control?
I actually have a stay-at-home business, so for me, I do stay home. I stay home all the time, so this social isolation thing is kind of a little bit normal for me. I'm just not used to all the people in the house that are staying with me now. So I've got 16 and 10. And so I'm trying to plan things with them. We get out every day. We take the dog for a walk, and you know, I might go do the shopping, but only one person in the supermarket at a time. So it's a little different, but we can still, you know, we're surviving okay. I've never done so much baking in my life.
And, you know, that's one of the things that I've seen. People are either baking or drinking.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to come out of this like 10 pounds heavier.
Or both. Or both. Okay. So I think I don't know if you guys want to move on to another topic, or if you still want to.
Somebody is trying to get in. I got a couple of text messages from people trying to speak. Winnie, are you trying to get on? Can you hear? I still can't hear her.
Okay.
Okay.
So the one thing.
Hey, this is Shafika.
Oh, Fee, go ahead.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you can hear me because I didn't think I was on.
Okay, we can hear you.
Cool. Very good.
We can hear you. Great.
Thank you. Hey.
So the one thing that people did answer that saw the survey was time. So my question is kind of, what is your biggest challenge with time? And, you know, is it different than you had before? Ingrid?
This is Shafika. May I answer?
Yes.
Well, it's funny that time was one of the topics that was chosen, because when I put it in, it told me that the time period had ended for me to enter that. But time management has not changed much for me since this outbreak. I just have issues with trying to stop doing what I'm doing. And I don't know if it's a habit that I have developed over the years. Prime example, I'm at work, I'm teleworking, and I get off at 4:30. Well, I find myself still working at 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's like I can't cut it off, and I don't know why.
Somebody else.
Hi. Somebody is sharing their screen. That's interesting.
I don't know what happened. I'm looking at a screen that says, please click Zoom meetings if you're seeing the system dialogue.
Don't do that. So let me see if I can.
There you go.
Okay. There you go. All right.
This whole, I'm going to say something briefly, and then I'm going to turn it back over. I just want to say that the time thing is really important. Most of us prayed for more time before this happened, and now we have so much time, but yet we are still not managing it well. One of the things, as I walked into work one day and was responsible for 3 areas, and I showed up the next day and was responsible for 12 areas. And so my time management just went through the roof. My record is, and I'll never do this again, I probably won't admit it publicly, but my record is I sat for 11 hours without getting up except to go to the bathroom and to get a croissant.
Ooh.
So I will not do that again, because I recognize that after having talked to my director of counseling that I was not setting clear boundaries. And so now what I've done, which she recommended strongly and I have adopted absolutely whole scale, is I have now created a ritual around stopping. And my ritual is I slam my computer shut. That's it. That's it. I mean, you know, it's not deep, right? It's me. So I just close it and that's it. Once it's closed, it's done. I do not pick my phone up and it's finished because I can literally we have an incident command structure. We have a FEMA structure on campus. And with this structure, I can literally be on 24/7 because our operational period is 24 hours a day, including weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got to shut it down.
So did
Yeah.
you put it in
Thank
8
you.
hours? What's your time limit?
For what? The next
When
morning.
you shut it down, you give yourself 8 hours?
Yeah, no, when I shut it down at 5 o'clock or 5:30, whatever I decide is going to be my time frame for that day, I don't pick it back up until the next morning because we have our 8 o'clock morning is first. We have an 8 o'clock meeting every morning, a 9 o'clock and a 4 o'clock, just to talk about our response to this on campus. After, you know, and of course, in between, I'm working and, you know, doing the jigsaw puzzle and making sure that people are connecting and doing what they need to do. But I'm not 24 hours. And at one point, when I first started this structure, I was just always available. They would text me, I text them back. They call me, I call them back. If it's 7 o'clock and someone messaged me, I message them back. Until literally, I'm home tomorrow. I was home Friday. My supervisor said, "You're doing way too much, and I need for you to stop." Well, she doesn't
Good.
know I
Okay.
already stopped.
It is hard for you to stop if you don't have a reason to go on to something else. So one of the ways to set a stop is a stop is like a deadline. So, you know, and a deadline gives you a certain amount of urgency. So when you set a stop, right, it's important that you know what you're going to do next. You know, so for me, setting the stop, you know, I could I work from home, so I could work at my desk all day long and stuff like that. But I have, particularly right now, I have made part of my stopping that we're going to eat dinner at 6. You know?
Okay.
So that I'm trying to stop by 5 so I can do whatever I need to do. I can have a little transition time. And then I can, you know, go down and get ready to eat. So if you don't have anything that you have to do, chances are it's going to be really hard to stop because you kind of, you know, the fluidity, you know, you just kind of keep oozing into the time frame. The other thing I think that is really important is that during this time, I think it's a great gift to yourself regardless, is some people call it the power hour, some people call it the morning miracle. But if you have an hour a day that you can just focus on yourself and what you want to accomplish and get done, and you know, I am definitely a planner. I like to make my list the day before about what I'm going to do. I never put more than 10 things on my list. Part of the things that I put on my list have to do with self-care. So number 10 at the bottom of my list is always spend more time with Oscar. Number 1 is always to do something that's going to give me either my Tai Chi or to read something inspirational, okay, to get my day started. And then, you know, I've got the other stuff in between and try to figure out, you know, what's really important. Whatever I don't finish, you know, just goes to the next day. But it helps you prepare and get ready when you see, oh, I need this, maybe I need to shoot out an email. You know, so I put that list together maybe around 4 o'clock before I stop. So if I need information from other people, I still have time to contact them. Okay.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
I have a suggestion too. I also work from home quite a bit, so my day hasn't really changed much in light of being confined at home. But I think it's also important to calendar and block your time out, even a lunch break, even whether or not you actually eat during that time, it's important to block that time out, and maybe even blocking out your evening between 5 and 6 or whenever you think is appropriate to shut down. That way it will become habit once you really block that time out, and maybe you won't need to do that every single day, but it'll create, I think, a good habit. And also turning off your notifications on your phone at the end of the day so that it's not a distraction in the evening and before you wake up, before you're ready to sort of see what's you're going to be faced with for the day. That would be my suggestion.
Have you guys ever done time blocking?
I have, Yvonne, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Yvonne. This is Ingrid Wilson. Hi, Sis Lena. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
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 I'm loving all the suggestions, but one thing that you were just speaking of, Yvonne, and the last lady that was just speaking about turning off notifications. I'm a planner myself and pretty much manage my time most of the time okay. But I am finding in this last few weeks working from home, I usually work from home as well too, but sometimes I go to my office. But now that I am remote every single day and I have things blocked off on my calendar, I get up every morning around 6 and I meditate for at least 30 minutes every single morning, Sunday to Sunday, every day of the week. But I'm finding an issue with my work schedule, things that are planned, meetings, conference calls, so whatever it may be. When something urgent comes up that's not on my calendar, of course, it takes precedence and I take care of it. But I'm finding myself now working even much later in the evenings and having a hard time to completely shut it down.
Yeah.
So let me.
This is Monique.
Go ahead, Monique.
Oh, I said, it sounds like many of us are in the same situation. And I was actually telling a girlfriend the other day that I also work from home pretty much 4 days a week. I go into the office once a week. And so I have a lot of people, a lot of my friends and sisters and stuff call me like, oh, well, you should be used to this. I know this is no problem for you, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I tell them this is a different type of work from home.
Yeah.
Because because of the fact that all of my colleagues are also working from home. So everybody could do a conference call, a webinar, it seems like every hour of the day. So you actually are working, like you said, I find myself working more because everybody else is working from home. They want to call, they want to do, the conference calls, webinars and all that. So I find myself, again, like you said, like several of you said, working until 6, 7 o'clock. And it's like, wait a minute, how did this happen? And it's like there's marathon days where I'm, on the phone, on the laptop, like I'm like chained to the laptop and the phone all day long until about 7 o'clock. And it's pretty ridiculous. But when I was teleworking before all of it started, and I'm trying to do it now at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I do a meditation, I do my workouts, all of that. So I give myself about to myself in the morning because I do find that during the day, like different things will start going and then you're not getting what you need for yourself. So, that's what I typically do, have my routine in the morning. And I've been sticking to that, thank goodness. Also, something else that I do is I set an alarm on my phone so that at least every hour I'll set it for like, maybe the 30-minute or 45-minute time frame on the hour. And I will at least get up and walk around for about 5 minutes or something. I have to make myself get up and move away from that laptop. Just to get the blood flowing because you don't want the quarantine to, creep up on you. If you're just sitting all long like that, that's not good and it's not healthy. So I do at least get up a couple, once or twice, during the hour. And then for lunchtime, I make myself go out and walk because right now we're blessed with the opportunity to be able to get up and go walk, outside if you can. And that's typically what I do. And I'm kind of walking inside if I come down to it. But I do make up for lunchtime and at least go out and walk, if it's just down the street and back again. So, those are little things tips I wanted to share that I do. And like you, Cicely, I'm to make sure now at least 5:30, that's done time. I, turn it off and people know. You also have to kind of manage other people's expectations.
Exactly.
If you're answering that phone after 6 p.m., after 7 or whatever, they're going to expect that from you for the remainder of the time, because they know, oh, if I call Monique at 7, she'll answer. If I send her an email at 8 at night, she'll answer. No, I'm not. So I'm managed. So now they know, don't send me anything. You can send it if you want, but I'm not going to respond. So you have to also learn other people so that they don't try to manipulate and take control of you and your time. So
Monique, are you feeling
those are just my
refreshed when you walk during the day?
Well, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. And I sleep better at night too, because I'm able to go out and I'm making myself go out and just walk, get the fresh air. So, and I can come back to the laptop refreshed, even if I only went out for 5 or 10 minutes. I come back in the house refreshed.
I'm going to try that because I haven't been doing that during the work week. I'll step away from my laptop, but I haven't been going outside during my work hours to take a walk or, just to completely step away. I might go to the kitchen or go start a little laundry in the basement of my laundry room, but then I'm right back on my laptop.
And you know what?
Yep.
Sometimes, maybe you don't, I don't know, where everybody's living thing is, but I know that there was one day that it was really sunny out and I just went and sat on my front step and actually, and it was funny because a couple of my neighbors came out on their steps. They were all 6 feet away, but I had a chance to talk to them and I hadn't talked to them in a long time. So, since it got to be winter. And so that was just a nice, change of pace. I also have another tip that you can use in terms of managing your time, and I call it the 45-minute hour. So you know how we schedule things for the hour or on the hour? So there are a couple of things that happen. You usually start the beginning of the hour strong, and then you kind of piddle down as you get to the end of it or whatever, and that, especially in a meeting, okay? So if you schedule your Zoom calls and stuff for 45 minutes, if you schedule your work time for 45 minutes, you tend to work much more focused and much more intently. And then you've got like this 15 minutes that you can either get up, go do something, do some, look at emails or whatever. And you will find, first of all, it's hard to do for a full day because you're going to find yourself going, like you're running, right? But it is very effective. And if you think of it, if you can do that for 4 hours, you've actually gained like an hour, like 5 45-minute slots, and you can make it go faster. The other thing is that some of these Zoom calls and stuff, if you don't have agendas before you start, they just gonna go off the rails, Come prepared, be willing, have this information. This is what we're going to do. We only have 45 minutes or 40 minutes. Let's knock this out and be done. And people are not used to having meetings like that. And you will get a lot more accomplished. It will take up a lot less of your time.
One other really quick tip that I started right before this happened, I started setting meetings for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. 25 minutes. I would set meetings at odd times because what it would do, it would force people to come in and think, I only have 15 minutes. So we didn't flounder. Because if you want to flounder, I can flounder with you. So I would set them for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we are in and we are out. And that just really cut down on giving someone a whole hour when they really only need 15 minutes.
Right. That's a great idea. Thank you.
That sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Setting deadlines and urgency is.
And odd times make them think about their time. So you said it's a meeting.
I want to share on the time management. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jennifer.
Okay. So my time management issue is kind of the total opposite, where I just waste time. Like total waste time trying to get focused and trying to get started, even if it's something that I really want to do, whether it's with my day job, now that, even when I was in the office, and last week was our first week working at home, just trying to get focused and get moving, or even in my own business, trying to get focused. Like right now, yesterday I started putting up a one-page website because I'm giving my book away to people that lost their jobs because they really need my book. And I got the draft of the website up, came down here by the water. I'm like, oh, it's a great day. Go down and finish writing the book. And I ended up talking to my girlfriend until it was time to get onto this call. I haven't even pulled the website up. I did post a video to YouTube that I did right before I left home, but that's the only thing I've done today was post that video to YouTube. When it comes to the day job, if it's a case that I need to do a correspondence or work on, I'll get that done. But anything else, slow to motivate. When it comes to the business, just slow to get started. And, things are just really moving slow. And it's been like that for the past 2 years. And I
So,
mean, Selena, you know how much work I used to crank out at what speed and how many hours I would go nonstop. As far as the last conversation, the folks that are going nonstop, I love the idea of taking breaks. I used to tell people you need a cigarette break. Oh, but I don't smoke. I said, you see smokers get up no matter what they're working on and they stop and they go get a cigarette? That's what that walk around the block is. It's your equivalent of a smoke break. Just get up and take that break. I get all that. And Yvonne, Dave Lacani, The Power of an Hour, I get it. Brian Tracy, eat that frog, knock that hard thing out first. I get it, but
does anybody else have a suggestion for Jennifer?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Oh.
How do you get on?
I hear you.
Wait a minute, who is speaking? Because I'm trying.
This is King's Kid Twice. I'd like to get on.
Well, you are on, so go ahead.
Okay. As far as Jennifer, we have to realize that being in an environment where we're on point at all times in our workspaces, also working from home, you're on point more than you are in the office because you have to complete a certain amount of information and you are also being timed and watched. Everything is going through a filter. I think that this time is important to us because we need time to shut down for a couple of days just to gain momentum to even start to our minds to be free to get a time blocking strategy in order to think about how our days are going. Believe me, with all the emphasis on the crisis and the pandemic, our minds and subconscious are so filled, Jennifer, that you probably can't even think to get to.
Let me back up. Let me say this. I'm coming from this is part of it. I just started working. I've been back to work 3 weeks after a 2.5-year break. So that may be part of it. I was working kind of working my business for that period. So there's a lot there.
Yeah.
So still, I still say that you have to get your mindset. You're telling me a different scenario, but it's still, the bottom line is once you get your mindset and your strategy for how you're going to approach this before you start out there trying to approach it, before you start seeing how you're going to approach it, you have to get a strategy and implement a discipline for going through that strategy to accomplish and feel each day as if you've accomplished what you started out to. That's going to take discipline.
Okay, the other person that had their hand up was Kristen.
Hi, I'm Chris. Chris Moran.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Hi, Chris.
So I had a little suggestion. I've done a couple of things. I put some free resources in the chat for you all.
Can you hold your microphone closer?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've done a couple of things for you all. I've put some free resources on a Google sheet that I created for my students. I think it'll be helpful for anyone. And while you're thinking about how do you motivate yourself, I think we've talked a lot about blocking of time, but you can also find accountability partners. I think right now we have to be really kind to ourselves in a time of chaos and of uproar that is happening in our lives. So be kind to yourself, but also like figure out how you can find other people. So there are meetups online of people that are just working. Like you go in, you say, I have to complete this one thing. I need to do this one website thing today. Can you check in with me in an hour to make sure that I've gotten this piece of what I need to do done, and just break down things into smaller amounts. When I do my time blocking during the day, I do something similar as whoever was talking earlier. I do all of my movement in the morning. I try to keep my sleep pattern very intentional. I think right now it's really easy to sleep whenever, take naps whenever, or to eat whenever. But if you try to like keep a schedule going and then tell people like in the morning, I plan to do this particular thing. I want to write 1 chapter or 2 pages of my book even, and let someone know and say, hey, can you check in at me at 10 o'clock and see if I've done that? And that way it's just little chunks of things that you're trying to complete and get done. And then at the same time, there are apps that can help you do that as well. I think a lot of times we don't utilize the technology the way that we should that's available to us. So some apps that I send to the students are Things. It's a time management app. There's Pomodoro. There's a couple different Pomodoro apps if you've heard of those 1 block hours, those 45-minute blocks, and then a movement or an art or something that you like to do, taking an entire break from your screen. Focus Booster, Marinara Time. And then if you have an iPhone, there are a lot of ways your iPhone can be really, really helpful. I'm not sure about any of you, but sometimes I mostly get distracted by having to scroll through news or social media or whatever the case may be. So if I need to get something done, I will block my time on my phone and on my MacBook, whatever. So I'll put like do not disturb, and I'll set the times for the times that I need to not be disturbed so I can just hone into whatever I'm doing. The other thing that they have there is screen time. So there's the do not disturb, which will limit your calls and your emails and things coming in, your notifications. And then your screen time, which will limit the websites that you're going to or the apps that you're opening on your phone. So those are just a few different things that you can use. And then in the Google Doc that I sent you, it's just a bunch of different activities that you can use in those break times. And I think I might have put some accountability partner sites that you can use, but I have to check on that. So I hope that's helpful.
That's
Thank you.
excellent.
Can I go, I would like to go to W. Brown Agency. I saw that you put in the chat that you wanted to participate, and I don't know. Can you talk and see?
Yes, hi, this is Winnie Brown. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, ladies. This has been a great discussion. There were times I was trying to chime in, and it seems like others were able to get through, and I tried like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I don't think anyone can hear me. So anyway, thank you. And thank you all for putting this forum together, because I think it's very good and healthy. You know, I really could relate to much of what has been discussed. Of course, we are all going through the same thing, in that we are trying to navigate through this new environment of, well, for me, to work at home is not new to me at all. But what is different is me not going to my clients' homes to interact with them. And so, but for me though, just as the virus really went into, into something that the world was really paying attention to, I had just moved. Then I had to, just right after I moved, my house was very disorganized, and I had to take my daughter on a college tour. And we did that, and her last college tour was in New York City on the same day that, that New York announced its first case. And so I was like, you know what, we need to get you home, so, and then what happened after that is the industry changed. So we no longer have permission to go visit clients in their homes now anyway. So, but there was a week between March 2nd of that first case, like at the end of that week is when we were told that we don't have permission to visit clients in the home. And it was that week that I visited that Thursday is when I saw my last client on that Thursday, and she just happened to have worked at George Washington University, and she explained to me that there was a patient in the office who tested positive for COVID-19. And even though it's my job to be cool, calm, and collected when I'm talking to people and being open-minded, I remember feeling the fear of God almost inside of me, like, oh my God, if you were around somebody who was, maybe me too. So I couldn't work literally for about 2 weeks because I took this. So let's talk about the virus from the standpoint of it scares the daylight out of you. Like if you don't have a relationship that's deeper than yourself, right? You need to have me personally have a relationship with God. This is not a religious discussion, but I do. And without having that relationship, I'm telling you, there's no way that I would still be able to move forward in my life. So what I did, and I want to say this to Jennifer, maybe you need to give yourself permission to rest. Maybe because I know that personally, I mean, we don't have to go back deep and, dig deep into anything in particular. But I mean, for the last two and a half years, I've been going through some stuff too. But maybe you need to learn how to give yourself permission to rest. I mean, take the rest. You don't have to be that superwoman professional. I can do it. I'm the best at what I do. I have learned to give that up. And once I learned to give that up, I literally, ladies, I just got back to work from March 2nd, and now I feel more rejuvenated. I feel more ready. I learned to turn the news off because I had that news on. I was looking at it because I was allowing just the whole threat of it all. I mean, it's like, my goodness. And the reason that it made me feel a particular way at first was, listen, I know that God is in control, and I know that for the most part, I'm pretty cool and strong. But this is a virus unlike nothing we've ever heard of in my lifetime. And it literally can almost kill everybody. So it scared the death out of me. So I have learned to turn that around. But I did it through rest, Jennifer. I rested. Now, I know that if I don't work, my kids won't eat, but the refrigerator is full. I moved here to lower my rent because of the circumstances that we haven't talked about. But I did the right thing just before the mess happened. But I'm telling you, I think that the biggest thing with this working from home, it's not the fact of working from home. It's not the fact that you need to take breaks and screen time and all of that, not to diminish it at all. But I think it's just the fact that you have to. And I think, just the fact that you have to is the thing that can cause anxiety. The fact that you need to stay home. Yesterday, I went outside because I had to. I've been home for 9 days, literally. And when I went outside, no, not yesterday, it was the day before. When I went outside, I was like, oh my God, it is a beautiful day. And I can't be out here. Like, who is trying to take the air and the sun away from me, right? Like, who is trying to take the air and the sun away from me, or the moon at night, so that I can go out and see? And I think that's the part that really causes more anxiety than anything else. I think the average person can learn to work from home and to incorporate all of the great suggestions, but I think it's just the fact that you have to is what I think is huge.
Yeah, that you've lost some control there. All right, this is what I want to do because I want to honor our hour. I want to get one more comment, and E. Huggins, did you have a comment?
Hi.
And then I want to kind of tie up the call, if that's okay with everybody.
Thank you so very much. And thank you, Sis Lena, for you all organizing this. It's good for us to have some time to talk. I won't be quick. I just want to say with my time, I don't have like a set schedule. Some days I just log on at 10 a.m. and I'm still in pajamas until 1. Other days I get up and I get dressed a little bit. I schedule my meetings with direct reports. Sometimes I call them. Sometimes we're on Teams. And I think the pressuring thing for me is that sometimes I feel like I'm a counselor, and I had to tell, I'm in the management team. I had to say, look, I'm not a psychologist. All I can do is try to say the best things that I could to individuals, but direct them to HR So those are the times where it can be a little challenging because people are talking to you and you want to be sensitive, but I feel like I'm also under stress. But anyway, so I sometimes I turn on the TV and I look at some of the talk shows and a little comedy here and there. So what I've found is mixing it up a little bit for me. That kind of works. In the afternoon, take walks up on Capitol Hill. There's very few people out there. We wear our masks, so we get out. But I don't know. I just found like for me, mixing it up a little bit, even mixing it up with my direct reports, whether it's on Teams or just calling them and checking in. So that kind of works for me. But I think some of us who, we are in leadership positions is very stressful because we're expected to be accountable for how our teams are going to be spending this time working remotely. And that could sometimes be a challenge. But anyway, thank you so much for this. This has been really good. Appreciate it.
This is what I'd like to do. I'd like to talk about kind of going forward, and then we can spend some more time, but for those people who have to leave, they can leave. I think is probably the best way to do it. I know, Natalie, you want to say something, and there may be other people who want to add things, but when we started this, Cicilline, join in, we had said we wanted to do this for a couple of Sundays in a row, as long as we're all kind of in, where we have to work from home or we can't go out. And so I don't know if that's something that you want to do. I don't know if there are areas that you'd like us to, let's say take one area and deal with that in each call. So what I think I would like you to do is, most of you got an email from me that came from coaching at Yvonne McCoy that was a reminder that the call was going to be in an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. So if you could email me back about what your thoughts are, we're going to do this next week, right, Cicilline?
Yes, and you can also put thoughts in the chat. Like if you we talked about clarity, focus, energy, and productivity. We had a whole list of things, but we decided that we wanted to just give you the space to use as you need it. So if you can certainly email Yvonne back, but she also will be capturing this chat. So if you've got ideas about what you want us to share for next week, we'll certainly invite you all back. We invite you to also invite friends back for this space that we're going to hold as sacred, so that we can share about how we are moving through this time. We are redefining what community is, because we can't just walk into someone else's office or cubicle or whatever. So we are our own community and mastermind, if you will, on how we're going to take care of each other through this season. So if you can jump on next week, that'll be great. If you can't and you need to skip a week because something comes up, that'll be great. We just want to make sure that you know that we're going to hold this space for you.
Also in the chat, there are 2 resources that people have put in.
Yeah.
So go in the chat and find that. And this actually brings us to the top of the hour. So I'm kind of doing my time thing. But what I want to say to you is I can stay for a few more minutes. Cicilline, can you stay for a few more minutes?
I can, for those who want to, but yes, we should acknowledge and honor time.
Yeah.
See, Yvonne is better than me.
So
But-
Natalie, go for it.
Well, I was just going to just share something, and I can wait till next week.
You can share. We're here.
Oh, well, as I was listening to all the suggestions and everything that we have for staying active and being productive, this coronavirus is worldwide, this pandemic, and I tried to just look at it. Well, what is it that it's trying to tell us all? I mean, not just us in the U.S., but us around the world. What is it trying to tell us here? And I think about, on this call, everybody was, we're getting the suggestions, we're expressing how stressed we are, things like that, and giving each other really good advice. And I'm just trying to look, this is a time that we have, and we probably won't get this again, in our lifetime. I'm just talking about where the whole world is shut down. So how, how can we take advantage of this in terms of being? I mean, is it going to be that, we know we have to do our work, and we have to be accountable, but how can we still go about taking care of ourselves? Because this pandemic is making us all slow down. And as I'm listening to us, we're saying, well, how can we still keep doing what we're doing? And it's just really trying to bring that balance that we have into for ourselves and our lives, and for the people we work with, for the people we work for, just even be citizens of the world. I mean, how can we be better for ourselves and for others?
I absolutely agree with you. And one of the things I heard someone say is that this is the great equalizer. None of us have had to deal with this before. None of us knows, is ahead of anybody else. So in terms of your businesses, and also your personal life, this is a chance to do something that you haven't done before. And so maybe next time when we talk, let's talk about that this is an opportunity. And maybe we can, create opportunities that we hadn't thought about. I mean, it's really funny. Just before this happened, I was getting ready to launch a whole series of courses called Gain an Hour a Day, easily gain an hour a day. And all of a sudden, everybody had more time than they knew what to do with. And I kind of had to say to myself, you know what? This just saved me a learning step. I can put this on the back burner for another time and go to the thing that I'm really trying to get people to, of trying to create their legacy and to think long term. So this has really put us into a different situation than we've ever had before. And I think that, I think we would like to have a retreat. But the difference between this and a retreat is it has given us a certain sense of urgency. And, all those books and programs and things that you may have bought before you never got to, this is a perfect time to go and take a look at them and see if they still fit your life, and see if they still have meaning. And if they don't, give them to somebody else. My sister said, I have to say, I have a big hoarding gene. And my sister said to me, when I give something to somebody else, it makes me feel rich. And that's really true. Whether it's your time, your information, whether you're actually, giving clothes to Goodwill, or whether, you're doing some other thing, it makes you realize that, you don't need this stuff. You don't, and that somebody else can use it. And it's a gift that you can give the world. And we need acts of kindness at this point.
Yeah, I definitely want to punctuate that point. Acts of kindness for sure, because if we as conscious citizens come out of this the same way that we went in, then shame on us. Because there are many of what we have now is an answer to many of our prayers. We wanted more time with family. We wanted time to focus on what God is trying to say to us. We wanted time to do that book. We wanted time to launch that business. I haven't met one person yet who has not had a passion project. I just haven't met that person. They've all had something that they wanted to do. Now we have time to do it. And if we spend this next 6 weeks or 6 months, because we don't know. I'm going to tell you right now, we don't know. If we spend this next 6 weeks to 6 months licking our wounds like the rest of the world is doing, and being consumed with news, and being consumed with foolishness that is like midday entertainment, and end up missing out, we have no right on the other side to say we wish we had more time to do that.
That's true.
Amen, Selena. Absolutely. Well spoken.
I just have a question. I just have one question. I'm on my cell phone. Next time I'll be on my laptop because I had to do some stuff in the kitchen. But is there a way, I'm not able to pull up chat, is there a way that we could get the notes from chat that were sent? I'm just thinking people were talking about different things they were putting in chat, different tools and things like that.
I can see whether when I send out the reminder for next time, I can see if I can put those resources in there.
Okay, thank you.
We have Psalm 91 in here. This is beautiful. I said so. Monique just posted Psalm 91 as a reference. My
Yeah.
mother sends me that
Yeah,
anytime
but
she thinks
Jennifer put something in, and Christine put something in.
Yeah, Chris put something in.
And I have to tell you that I don't know how to capture the chat, but I'm told that it goes into my
You
account.
go down. Oh, I don't know about on the phone. I think if you go down to the bottom, if you're on your
I know how to get on the chat while we're on the call, but somebody told me that it will save the chat, so I can go look at it.
if you go to the let me see. On the bottom of the chat to the right is 3 lines, 3 dots. If you
Yeah,
click
I've been
that, there's
pushing
the
it.
opportunity to save it. But every Thursday night at 7, I go live on Facebook and Zoom. And last week, I'm in a 5-part series on coronavirus and your money. And so many people are stressed out. Last week, I did free resources on how to relax and de-stress. And so it's up on YouTube. So that's just a link to my YouTube channel where you can see all the YouTube videos. But last week was all kinds of resources. There's an 8-week mindful-based stress reduction course. There's free meditation apps. There's all kinds of resources in the video I did last week on Thursday night.
Okay. So let me just do this. Is there anybody else that wants to comment? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yvonne, King's Kid twice again.
Yes, okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
First of all, I think that this is an excellent outlet, resource. Whoever came up with this, it was a God-implanted idea. So I think this is helpful to all of us. I just want to say thank you and find out from Jennifer where to find you on YouTube. And I think that us helping us, we can get further along the road. And I really appreciate everyone on the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope next time we'll get to see more faces.
Oh,
I know, I didn't know how to get the face.
So when you come in, it says join with video, I think. So, we want to see all your faces. You don't have to be dressed up.
Yeah, gotta get to.
That's right. I'll take my shirt off. I mean,
Is it that type of show now?
yeah, right. I have an 11 right now.
We're gonna really de-stress.
I have an 11 o'clock marketing call that I do, and we call it the house coat group because we all show up at 11 o'clock in our house coat. But so we want to see your faces next time. And one last go round. Is there anybody that wants to add anything else?
I want to say something. This is Darlene. I know I'm on the Serena Rose, but I just want to thank everyone. And Cislina, thanks for inviting me to this forum. I want to talk about maybe for the future. I didn't know this is going to be weekly. I think it's awesome that maybe things that we can do to build up our immune system as well as we go through this corona. That's what's going to help us with staying healthy, is long, like taking walks and meditation and breathing and reading our scriptures. And but you can't take it for granted that people know what to do when it comes to that. And I'm learning, how to do more self-care.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see me.
Yes.
But I purchased this like 6 months ago.
What is that? What is
So
that?
I'm gonna.
What is it?
It's a pedicure.
Oh,
A
pedicure. All right.
So I'm gonna break this open.
Princess gonna give you a pedicure.
Well, I do it.
And,
I should learn how to give myself a pedicure to do self-care.
This is a great time to look at
Silver lining.
all the beauty stuff that you've got. I keep buying these, masks, to condition your skin, and I never do it. And so this is I have no excuse not to do that now,
Right.
So if people are interested in self-care and in their immune systems, and this is not an area of expertise for me. I don't know, Cislina, what you know about that, but but you should come with some tips the next time. If that's
Very briefly, because I think that this is something that you can take right away,
Yeah.
is use that coconut oil. So
Yep.
you can go and get coconut oil from any, grocery store. And viruses don't like coconut oil, not just coronavirus. If you put it into your nose area and maybe just rub a little bit in your ears, it actually is a barrier. And so my nurse practitioner friend shared that with me. My sister shared that with me. So I just want to share that with you. If you don't believe it, you could always Google it, because I know you will anyway. But you can use coconut oil just to kind of protect your orifices, and it will be a barrier. There are other tips on building your immune system that we can share next time as part of what we're going to be sharing. But there are definitely things that you can do.
In the chat, I didn't hear the name of it, Selena.
Just coconut oil.
Oh, coconut oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we leave, my boys, we put the coconut oil in the nose, and and then we mask up and do whatever it is that we have to do. But it is a natural barrier.
okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to say this has been fantastic. And to stay on target, by all means, stay safe, stay healthy, make yourself a priority. Think about how you want to come out of this at the other end so that you come out strong and come out, that you can thrive during this time. And so that's what we're here to support you for. Cislina, any last words before we go?
No real last words. I just want to shout out everybody. I want to shout you out, Yvonne. Shout out Bernadette and Mary Barrett. I know she's in the background because I heard her voice. Ingrid, Jennifer, King's Kid twice. I love that. Natalie from ARP, Winnie. Oops, I lost the name. Mitra Vinda, who has an amazing voice. She didn't let y'all hear it. Nikki, I don't know who that is. Frony and Shireen.
Hey.
Shireen and Trish are like my babies. They're one of mine. And then Eureka gave birth to my oldest son. And then Monique and Ruth and Shafiqwa, my sister from another mister. And I think that's it. I think I got everybody, right? Everybody else, did everybody sleep? Monique.
Maybe we'll have some dance music
From
next
Robert
time to
Hatter.
get started.
Kristen. Okay, so this time, dance party.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody, bye-bye. Be
Bring a
safe.
friend next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. That was good.